I think as people that are not, into baseball like you guys, we don't understand the mindset. Like, we don't understand what's going on. The only time we kind of got an inside scoop on that was when Kevin Costner played, the baseball player in For Love of the Game or whatever. And
he basically stole that from my movie, that whole thing. But, my movie's coming out next year. They're going to shoot now with Ben Stiller and Charlie Baby Productions.
Oh, my gosh.
They're doing a life story on my whole thing from childhood to the no-hitter.
Oh, my God. Until the no-hitter. Who's playing you?
They had decided, but I'm going to show you this guy. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
I'm going to show you the picture.
Who did you always want to play you?
Denzel.
Obviously.
Only because and when I pitched no-hitter, we met with Warner Brothers. They bought the rights to the movie.
He's too old at this point.
Old.
Yeah.
I met with Denzel. This was in 97. I met with him, and we had it all set. But then I guess you'll know better than me than that. With the production with movies and stuff, they had did the writing. They something what they call it, the ghostwriter or whatever.
Yeah,
with me, I showed them where I grew up, showed them my high school in Little League field. They gave me a check. Then 2 months later, they disappeared. I never heard from them again.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So,
oh my goodness! Yeah. All right, but it's happening now.
Now it's happening.
Okay.
Now it's real now. So.
All right. So to go back to your no-hitter, what are you thinking? How do you compartmentalize all the noises, all the things? Man. Like mentally, first tell me what it's like.
That was crazy because that year I started off 0-3, and they basically benched me. So when a pitcher gets benched, that means you're not getting in the game if you're up 10 or down 10.
Right.
They was trying to decide whether to send me to the minors or release me.
Okay.
So I would go to park every day, just sit there, nothing's going on. And unfortunately, David Cohn got an aneurysm in his shoulder.
Oh.
And so they had to take him out of rotation. And Mr. Steinberg is the only guy that said, put Gooden back into the rotation. Let him pitch. Joe Torre, the manager, he didn't want to put me back in. But Steinberg said, put Gooden back in or I'm going to fire you. Put me back in the rotation. The third start in. The first 3 games back in was so-so. And then the day that I was going to pitch the no-hitter, my dad was having open heart surgery the following day. So I had a ticket to go home to be with him. But that day I woke up, I said, he'll probably want me to pitch. Because all I could think about is all the days that he was training me and Gary.
Yeah.
I said, he'll probably want me to pitch. So I called Joe Torre, said, I'm going to pitch. I'm coming in tonight to pitch. He goes, no, I'll be with your dad. I said, no, I'll see you guys tonight.
Right.
Then I called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm not coming home. She goes, no, you have to come home. Your dad needs your support. Everybody's going to be here. We're waiting on you. I don't want to hear it. And so I ended up hanging the phone up on my mom because I was feeling guilty.
Yeah.
But that's something you don't do. You don't hang up on your mom.
Yeah.
I had to. So the whole day before I got to the park, it was like this dark cloud. Am I making the right decision? Am I going to see my dad again? Because he had been on Dallas for like 15 years. So I get to the park. Mel Stottlemyre came up to me and goes, how do you feel? Because Mel Stottlemyre was my pitching coach with the Mets and now with the Yankees. So I said, I'm fine. The first 3 innings of that game, I was standing in the walkway between the clubhouse and the dugout. Sometimes tearing out wondering if I made the right decision or not. And so I didn't know. See my dad, is he going to be okay? What's going on? Not into the 6th inning. I was looking at the scoreboard to see who was going to come up to hit. And you see no runs, no hits, no errors. And I'm like, wow. I was able to put my dad's situation aside.
Were they watching?
Yes.
From the hospital?
They was watching from the hospital.
Okay.
The doctor told me he was watching. So ended up pitching no-hitter. Obviously, I didn't sleep that night. And it's a photo where they carry me off the field. All I could think about was, my dad going to be okay? Pitching no-hitter. A month ago, I wasn't even pitching.
Right.
Last year, I was sitting at home, not knowing if I would play again. Not knowing if I could ever, get healthy.
You must have been on top of the world.
Oh, man. It was one of the greatest feelings in baseball.
Yeah.
I get to the hospital the next day. I take my ball from the game. He had the surgery.
Yeah.
He was on life support. But doctor said he did see the game. He was crying. He passed away. He never came after that. But the last game he saw me pitch was the no-hitter.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that story. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. That was the last thing he saw.
Last thing he saw, yeah.
But what is it like physically? Were you exhausted?
Oh, mentally and physically.
Yeah.
I was done because everything that was going on prior to that
was exhausting already.
Yes, already. And then Seattle, at that time, they had the best team in baseball for his hitting. Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Angel Martinez, Jay Bruner, Paul Sorrento. I mean, they lineup was stacked. Yeah. So the pitching no-hitter against that team and everything that I have been through and now what my dad's going through. Right. There's just so much stuff going on.
Right. Amazing. Okay. Can you recall a particularly tough opponent or game?
Okay.
In your career?
I guess, I'm trying to think. The toughest hitter was Chili Davis by far. Okay. He was, when he was with the San Francisco Giants, and I was with the Mets, I could not get this guy out. I tried to intimidate him. I throw balls over his head, throw balls on his chin. Could not get him out. And then he went to the Yankees, and I was in Cleveland. Same thing. Could not get him out. One of the toughest guys. And for his game, I would probably say, The most emotional game I would say when I was with the Yankees pitching against the Mets at Shea Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Because
and how did the fans treat you that night?
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing was, when I got released by Tampa, tried the Yankees, and then they called me in the office the next morning. They said, we need a pitcher in New York. It was a day-night doubleheader. The day game was at Shea Stadium. The night game was at Yankee Stadium. They said, George said, "I want you to pitch the day game against the Mets and stick it up there. You know what?"
Right.
So all I wanted was to go back to Shea Stadium one more time, but I couldn't say I wasn't ready. So I went there. I warmed up before the game, and nothing's working. But for some reason, when I got in the game, being at Shea Stadium, it was like I was back at home again.
Right.
I was accustomed to the mound, fans, and everything just clicked. And I beat the Mets right there at Shea. So that was like probably the toughest game for me to go through.
Right.
You know.
Right. Obviously, winning World Series for both teams is an amazing accomplishment. What was the difference between the two? And incidentally, did you make it to the parade for the Yankees?
96, I made those two.
Okay.
But you know what's funny? The night before, I stayed in the city to make sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you good?
Yes, I was good. Yes, everything was good because I made sure. Because that was one of the things I was like, man, I'm not missing this one because you don't think you get an opportunity.
Yeah.
Even though one of the things that kept me kind of, I guess, a little depressed or guilty was missing that first one because you can't do it over.
Yeah.
But with the Yankees, I was like, in 96, I'm like, I'm not missing this one. I'm staying in the city.
Right.
I'm going to get a hotel right close by where we're going to be.
Right.
So I made it.
Did you have the same relationships with the guys on the Yankees that you did with the Mets? Because it seemed like you were so close to those guys on the Mets.
It was different because the guys with the Mets was young. A lot of us came up together from the minors. And the Yankees was more like an all-star team. Like, besides, like, they had Jeter, Posada, Bernie, and there's one more guy I'm missing, Andy Pettit. Those guys came to the system, but everybody else came from different teams.
Right.
And it was veterans. I mean, good guys. But
Yeah.
it was different. With the Mets, all of us came up together,
Right.
mostly besides
So you
Carter.
guys were like family.
It was like family.
Yeah.
And the year before, we came so close and lost out, and so it was just different.
Right.
They all were special, though, in a different way.
Of course. After you retired, you went through some very public struggles, and I think it's a common phenomenon that they struggle with what to do when they retire. A lot of them become alcoholics. A lot of them take a deep dive into something, whatever it is, because they can't find their purpose anymore. They're so used to being put on a pedestal. They're so used to, having one purpose to do all the time, and then they don't know that they're good at anything else.
Right.
So my question would be, what happened to you? But also, like, talk me through what you would say to people that are retiring every year, how they can, move forward with their life and not struggle or not think that that was like the best years of their life and they'll never amount to anything again.
But you're definitely right on because the adrenaline rush you get, the adrenaline rush that I got as an athlete, playing in New York, playing with both teams, being at the top, all this stuff going on, then all of a sudden it's over.
Yeah.
And trying to find that adrenaline to match it.
And then you're a soccer dad or something.
Yes, 100%. You can't match that, so you got to find something. But I would say to athletes now and young guys, if you're playing sports at any level, especially major league level, whatever you want to do when you retire, start doing it now during the off season so you get a feel of it. So when your career over, whether it's an injury, whether you get released, or whether you retire, you got something to go into.